Is bedtime a chaotic and stressful time for you and your toddler or preschooler? Well, a consistent bedtime routine has been shown to alleviate these feelings and support an easier, more manageable transition to nighttime peace. So, how do you establish a bedtime routine for your child? I'll take you through it one step at a time. J. Dawn Mom here, grown mom with grown kids. Every week I share a video of my life as a MOYA, mother of young adults, as well as flashback videos like this one right here, where we talk about things I've learned over 3 decades of raising 6 kids. Today we're talking about winning at bedtime with toddlers and preschoolers. Be sure to go back and watch part 1 of this series on assessing what you're actually doing at bedtime. And I'll put the link below for that one, because the insights you gain there will help you with this second part of the video on establishing a bedtime routine that will be successful for your family. This should be a win-win. It's winning for them because they get the sleep that's necessary for them to grow physically, mentally, and for their well-being, as well as teaching them to self-soothe and to learn how to heed authority. It's a win for you because you get to raise a well-adjusted kid and get peace for the much needed recharge that we all need as parents. I suggest that you do some pre-planning. So as you finish your assessment and realize what needs to be done in order to get yourself a bedtime routine in place, you're gonna want to take a few days ahead of time. So before you get ready to knuckle down and lay in line this bedtime routine, you want a few days ahead of time to start to prepare your child and yourself, right? Because you need to put on your armor and get ready to fight this fight. And your child needs to kind of be alerted to the fact that, hey, I need you to go to bed and I'm going to need to help you a little bit more, and I'm going to start helping you because this is what you need in order to be healthy, and I'm mom or I'm dad and this is what's going to happen, just so you know. So in order to do that, you may, ahead of time, start getting your child tired. And what I mean by that is make sure you wake your child up early in the morning, even if you're tired and even if they're crying, I don't want to get up, because they're so tired. You get them up, wash their face, take them outside, do something. You've got to get this child awake while they're still tired. Because the goal is, if I wake you up early, if I give you a shorter nap time, not the full nap that you're used to. Maybe you're used to getting 3 hours a nap. I'm only going to give you 1 hour and 15 minutes or whatever, so that you can have your child more tired for bedtime. So if you do this for a couple of days, by the time bedtime comes, your child is just cranky and tired, and they welcome sleep because they're tired. That will give you a couple of days ahead of the game. So now you got kind of a tired child who's going to bed around the time you're looking for. So now let's put in place the bedtime routine. So to establish a bedtime routine, there's several pieces that need to be in play here. First of all, you need to figure out what time is it that you want your child in the bed sleeping. So work backwards. Let's reverse engineer. Say 8:30. I want my child sleeping by 8:30. And it usually takes them 20 or 30 minutes to go to sleep from the time they're in the bed. This is just an example. So that means already you've got 30 minutes. So we're talking 8 o'clock. So by 8 o'clock, your child needs to be in the bed, lights out, quiet time, yeah. So even before that, you need to make sure your child, cleans up their toys, gets washed up, brushes their teeth, gets their pajamas on, all of that before bed. Maybe that's another 20 minutes, whatever that is, add that on. Then maybe there's some talk time, some story time. We always did story time at my house. So I would read them lots of stories, and I always left a lot of time to do that so that we could really get filled up on that. So if you're a story timer, add time for story time. We definitely had a good 20, 30 minutes for story time. So now we're pushing all the way back. When you add that on, maybe you're 7 o'clock. So maybe your child has to be starting the bedtime routine at 7 o'clock in order to be sleeping by 8:30. So fill in your own numbers. In order to get that number too, though, you need to know how much sleep your child needs. So the American Academy of Pediatrics recommends anywhere between 10 to 14 hours of sleep for a child anywhere between 2 and 5 years old. So we're talking quite a bit of time. That includes naps though. So including the nap time as well as the bedtime, all that time needs to add up to between 10 and 14 hours. There is a little bit of leeway there because you know your child better than anyone. So minimum is going to be 10 hours. But some children, honestly, they just need more sleep than others. And you know who your child is. So adjust accordingly as you're reverse engineering your start time for your routine. The Academy says that ample sleep for your child helps to promote health in lots of ways. Attention, behavior, learning, memory. It helps with their mental well-being and their emotional stability. When they don't get enough sleep, they tend to be cranky, of course, but more than that, they have less attention span. They tend to get injured more, trip and falling, not holding their coordination well. And it leads to hypertension, depression, obesity. All of these things have been statistically proven. So sleep is really important. With screens part of our lives, the research is coming out more and more that young children do not need screens for long periods of time in their life. It interferes with the wiring of their brain as it is developing so rapidly during these years. And 30 minutes before bedtime, at least, no screens, no lights shining in their faces with dancing animation on it. They need to settle down. It's important to start this bedtime routine in ample time so that your child is not manipulating. You know how it goes. They're in the bed, the lights are out, you're sitting on the sofa trying to take a breath before you go clean the dishes or laundry or whatever else you have to do. And here comes pitter patter, pitter patter. Isaiah comes in asking about this, that, and the other thing, or the question he forgot to ask you, or whatever else. And you're thinking, kid, if you don't get in that bed right now, I'm about to tan your hide. Even if you're not a spanker, I'm telling you, those thoughts, they surface. Yeah. So have some peace before they get settled into bed. Again, story time, highly recommended. My kids a lot of times would ask me to tell them a story in my head. Tell me a story in your head, Mom. I would just sit and they would give me some characters and, what do you want the story to be about? Give me some ideas. We want the story to be about a little girl who was mad at her dog. Okay, here comes the story. Once upon a, and on I'd go making up a story. So I've actually made up some stories, and to tag along with this video, I actually told a story in my head about Hoppy and Floppy the grasshopper. You can find the link below for that story if you'd like to play it for your child tonight. It can also be found in my channel playlists under Stories. Anyway, as part of the routine, you might want to include things like cleaning up toys, brushing your teeth, washing up, putting on pajamas. Some kids really like to mimic the bedtime routine with their own stuffed animals or doll babies. Maybe they have a teddy bear that they sleep with every night. And maybe they can go and put their teddy bear to sleep. Kiss him, tell him a story, and put him to bed with the covers. And then get in their bed and you do the routine for them. Some kids like to bring their teddy bear to bed with them. Get alongside them and go night-night. This is Ellie. This is Ariana's elephant that she's had since she's a little girl. So Ellie gets a cameo in the video. The other thing that's notorious for getting in the way of bedtime is kids getting out of bed for a drink of water or a snack. This is something that you need to find a way to get ahead of. If for some reason your child really didn't eat enough, you need to think about how you want to manage meal times and food. And they're probably not going to starve. They're probably going to be okay. But you need to decide how to manage that. I know for us, sometimes we would have Cheerios, which I told you in an earlier video. Our kids called them Chi-Chis. So we would get Chi-Chis or sometimes unsalted crackers, just crack them up into little pieces and put them in a little cup. And while it was story time or talk time together, they could eat their little Chi-Chis or their little crackers and have a little sip of water, and that was kind of like a little special time or something. But sugar foods or big meals or heavy things, out of the question. Once the kids are in bed and lights are out, that's it. It's time to stay in bed. You can't keep getting out of bed. That's something that you're going to have to put an end to. And in part 2 of this video, we'll talk about consequences and standing firm and getting that situated. But for now, we need to help our children understand that just because you lay in the bed doesn't mean you're going to fall right to sleep. They need to know that sometimes it takes a while to lay down, be still, relax your body so that sleep will come. I know for us, we did massaging a lot, and I know Nana used to massage the kids' backs and down their backs and their little legs and feet, and they just loved it. So that can help kind of unwinding. Another thing could be sort of breathing and relaxing with them, helping them to take in deep breaths, and maybe starting with the feet and maybe touching their toe, touching their shin, their legs, going up to the belly, go up to the shoulders, the arms, the neck, up to the head and temples, and relax. So their bodies really, they get in touch physically with the relaxing process. Help children know that they can learn to self-soothe. They can be still in bed. They can sing a little song to themselves. Should be quiet though. I shouldn't be in the living room hearing you sing, "The wheels on the bus go round." I shouldn't hear that. That's not the idea. But if you want to sing quietly to yourself or tell yourself a little story, or maybe you want to tell a little story to your berry, but you're laying in the bed, you're being still and you're unwinding. Now, playing with toys in the bed, Legos or trucks, that might be a bit much because that doesn't help to unwind. It kind of stirs up. But the point is to help them bit by bit to learn to self-settle. It's a skill you will need your entire life. And in fact, the older you get and you lose sleep through the years, it's not good for our health. So let's get our kids off to a good start. So once you've established what the bedtime routine looks like, maybe make a little sign with bullet points or 1, 2, 3, 4, what the different activities are that need to happen on the way to bed. And do that each night so your child starts to anticipate what's coming next. I know it's getting closer to bedtime. Of course, you can give a little warning beforehand. So if 7 o'clock's the start of the bedtime routine, maybe at 6:30 or 6:45, you can say, "Hey, you know, it's almost time. You've got another 15 or 30 minutes before it's time to get started on bed," so that they can kind of start getting themselves ready and get acclimated to the idea. So try some of these things and see what works. Leave some comments below about things that have worked and things that maybe didn't work at all, so that other parents can learn from each other, because parents learn so much from other parents. Join me for part 3 in this series of Winning at Bedtime with Preschoolers and Toddlers. In that video, we'll talk about setting expectations at bedtime for ourselves and our kids, which will then lead to the final and 4th video in the series, Carrying Out Consequences. I'll put links in the description below. Give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe so I can see you on the next time. Hit the bell for notifications and you'll know exactly when the next video drops. J. Dawn Mom here. Iggsy.